You are watching The Wellness Hour, leader in medical news and information. I'm Randy Alvarez. Today's topic, how to look years younger without surgery. With us, we have an expert on the topic, board-certified general surgeon, Dr. Lisa Kang. Dr. Kang, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Randy. It's great to be here.
Now, you have a big center there, Serenity Med Spa in San Francisco.
Correct.
Where are you located, by the way?
We're actually very lucky to be right in the heart of downtown San Francisco.
Okay. And, I said that you can look years younger without surgery. You believe that?
I truly believe that. I'm a patient as well as a doctor.
I know your age, by the way. You look about 10 or 15 years younger than your age.
Thank you, Randy.
And so before we get into today's topic, though,
sure.
Tell me, because I looked at your website, a lot of different procedures you do.
Correct.
Who's the typical patient, and what are the different procedures, and what are the hot procedures?
So, we have a wide range of patients just because we offer such a comprehensive treatment. So, we have the latest technologies in facial rejuvenation, Botox, fillers, you name it. We're always constantly seeking to get the latest and the best. And moving down, laser hair removal, it's hot, it's popular. I was
surprised to find that out. I asked you, I said, what's your most popular procedure?
Definitely laser hair removal is one of the most popular treatments. I remember 8-10 years ago when I first heard about it, I was like, are you kidding me? You can permanently get rid of your hair. You don't have to shave. You don't have to wax. Who doesn't want that these days?
But the technology has improved, you say?
Oh, significantly improved.
How so, though?
Not only is it more effective, you can get better treatment with less, more results with less treatments. But the key is, a lot of women want to do it, but they're afraid of the pain. They hear these stories about these rubber band snapping things, but we have the latest technology.
So it's faster.
Not only it's faster, but it's also more comfortable. So pretty much you can do big areas.
So pain is kind of not something they're complaining about.
Yeah, exactly. It's virtually pain-free.
So lasers, you have a lot of lasers there.
That's correct. We're overflowing. We don't even have enough rooms. You have to put them in the hallways now. But the technology keeps getting better, and it truly, to deliver great results, you have to keep up with the technology because just like computers and TVs, it's constantly changing.
So the lasers do different things. Like, for example, what?
So there's a skin resurfacing laser that's pretty much take care of all the sun damage, age spots, brown spots, and then we have different treatments to take care of broken capillaries. You name it, we have it. There's not much that we can't do. And then it varies depending on obviously how young you are, how much damage you have. I wouldn't use the same laser to treat a young person versus somebody that's, older in their 50s and 60s that have more wrinkles and more damage on their skin. So that's why we can't just have one laser, to treat everybody because, it's not appropriate. And then you also have to consider if they're darker skin, if they're lighter skin, because it really makes a huge difference. So
what is the technology, though, that you're using to tighten skin?
Currently, there are all kinds of different technologies. They basically, one way or the other, heat up the skin. We have the Thermage, the newest Thermage Comfort Pulse technology that uses radio frequency, electrical energy to heat up the skin. It's fabulous. But, there's another player called Alvarez that uses ultrasound energy, and I feel like that actually
You love this Alvarez.
I love this Alvarez. I actually had it twice. I love it so much.
And where do you have it done, by the way?
You can pretty much see your whole face.
Like you personally?
Yeah. So, what really bugged me was look in the mirror, I start getting that upper sagging eyelids. Every woman get it. Okay. Or every man, I should say, as well.
And people just tuning in, you look at least 10 or 15 years younger than your age.
Thank you.
Okay, so you did your upper face.
So you get the upper eyebrow lift to help with the sagging upper eyelids. It does a fabulous job of tightening up the loose skin under the eyes. The jowls, everybody hates the jowls. It really helps to define the chin line as well as the double chin. And even though, I'm relatively thin, everything genetically, I had like a little double chin. So, my friends used to joke me, how come you're so thin, you have a double chin? So, you know what?
So really, this technology brought up your chin?
It actually tightened it up, believe it or not. And I always, all the reps that come through our door, and we do have a lot of reps, and they tell me this, they tell me that, they promise. But, I'm always skeptical until I really see the results. I have to see the studies, I have to see the results. So I said, what the heck, let me try it on myself. I loved it, and that's when I got it. And it's literally amazing. We usually start out by treating half of the face, and before we treat the other side, we can even show the person in the mirror, look, You know, it's like you see this tightening under the eyes, and that's just the tip of the iceberg because, you know, the way these technologies work, it really stimulates your own skin to produce more collagen over the next 6 months. It's a nice gradual improvement. You know, you don't show up one day like, you know, 10 years younger. It's like, what happened? You know, it's just a great, nice, natural, you know, improvement. That's
What are the
that's what
age
people are looking
ranges of
for.
the patients that are coming into you for this skin rejuvenation?
I pretty much see the whole gamut. I get teenagers who have acne issues, which they come in, and then I have the, you know, woman in their 20s getting laser hair removal, and then starting in the late 20s to early 30s, they start getting the lines, so they want to, you know, minimize it, prevent it. I mean, that's really the best way to stay looking young is almost prevention. So now they're getting smart. You know, they're not waiting until they get the deep wrinkles. They want to stay looking great. So, you know, I see the woman in their 20s getting, you know, starting to think about that. And then certainly a woman in their late 40s, late 30s and early 40s, they see the sagging, they get the tightening, they see the sun damage, they get the laser treatments. You know, and then they start losing volume, and the fillers does just an absolutely fabulous job of really restoring that volume and making you look youthful. And then, you know, because of the baby boomers, I mean, I see a lot of women in their 60s, 70s, even in their 80s. I mean, they're still full of life, they're still vibrant, they want to look good. They want to look good as they feel.
Okay. You know, one of the things you told me on the phone, you said, you know, Randy, I've been through it. I had a baby, looked in the mirror, wasn't happy, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I mean, did you still want to look pretty? I mean,
Absolutely.
the way you felt is what every woman is feeling?
Absolutely. I mean, not just because I'm in this business. I mean, that's a side benefit because I get to do all the treatments. Okay. But, I mean, you know, it gets pretty bad when your staff tells you, no, doctor, you're looking a little bit old these days, you know? I was like, what's going on? But, you know, at that time I was pregnant, I was breastfeeding afterwards, so it was really hard for me to do any treatments. But tell me, as soon as I stopped breastfeeding, man, I was, you know, there, you know, I actually got really bad melasma on my skin. You know, the
melasma is the what?
The mask of pregnancy, the brown spots that, you know, a lot of women get, that's hormonally related.
And you could take care of those? Because I heard that's tough to take care of.
I mean, no doubt, Randy, it's one of the most difficult things to get rid of. And, you know, I had it, I know.
So you got rid of yours? I
mean, I wear thick makeup. I mean, and you can see my dilemma in my situation. I'm in this skincare business and, you know, I get these spots and, you know, it really affects your self-confidence. You don't want to go out with wearing thick makeup because you're embarrassed. So, I mean, a lot of women come in with that kind of a story.
So there's thousands of women in San Francisco and around the country, but that have brown spots, red spots, but it doesn't have to be that way. Do you see that when you're out and about? And you say, boy, that'd be an easy one.
You know, that's interesting you say that because, you know, it's hard for me, like you're in an elevator, you're looking around like, you know, I can get rid of that brown spot. I can help you get rid of that wrinkle. I can get rid of that belly fat. You know, and that's the fun part of my job. And it's just so rewarding to see all those transformations. And, you know, and not only that, people, and it goes both ways. You know, people come to our center and they see the transformation in myself because they see me when I was
Did you feel better about yourself? I mean, do you see
Absolutely.
Transformations where women, men, after the treatments, they just, what?
Absolutely. And it's kind of funny because, you know, I like this story because, you know, somebody told me, you know, it's just kind of off to the side, but, you know, as I have a, you know, 5-year-old son and that's about to go to kindergarten and they say, you know, one of the tests they ask a kid when they go to kindergarten to see if they're ready is just like, what do your parents do? And then see if they kind of focus the answer on themselves or what the answer they say. So, oh, interesting. Let me ask him. So he was actually 4 at the time. So it's like, you know, what does mommy do? And then he said, mommy's a doctor. And then what does doctors do? It's like, you make people feel good. And I'm like, you know what?
Interesting.
That's what I do. I don't know if I could have answered that
very interesting
any better. And in fact, you know, I feel like what I do is not just to get rid of brown spots or get rid of wrinkles. I mean, that's not the end. It's not just to look younger. It's not just being vain. But, you know, they actually did studies that if you look in the mirror and you like what you see, you have increased neurotransmitters in your brain, the serotonin that actually elevates your mood and make you happy.
Good,
and then they did consumer studies that, you know, happy people that, you know, do better and make more money because they like themselves and other people like them if you like themselves.
All right,
you know, so,
all right.
You know, it's kind of interesting.
In this economy, why do this? Invest in fractionated laser or IPL or Botox or fillers? Because somebody could look at that and say, well, you know, not in this economy. What's your response to that?
I think the best investment is to invest in yourself. And then even in this economy, I mean, the job market is tough, it's competitive. And, you want to have that cutting edge. So we have a lot of people who are going out interviews and you want to look their best. And actually a lot of older people, they have to compete with these young guys, so they want to look youthful and great. And, because the technology is so great, and we have such great non-invasive, minimally invasive treatments that if you really start early enough, we can make a huge difference. I mean, I can keep you looking years younger.
Going into this interview, I'm real skeptical about fillers. I feel like I could spot a woman that's overfilled.
Absolutely.
Down the street.
Absolutely.
Is that in the hands of the doctor?
Absolutely in the hand of the injector. Okay. I mean, it's, she didn't do it herself.
Do you think people are being overfilled?
Some people definitely have being overfilled. And, there was actually a study that was shown that, our eyes, our humans like facial symmetry. So if you overfill and throw things off, I mean, it doesn't look attractive to us. I mean, it may to some, but I mean, we really like symmetry. So with the fillers, I mean, you can fill in, everybody knows about the nasolabial fold, but I mean,
that's the area right here.
Exactly, the parentheses around the mouth. But actually, fillers are absolutely fabulous for filling the sunkenness under the eyes. And I have a lot of women come in like, Doc, people keep telling me I look tired. I'm not tired. What's going on? I was like, look, if you fill that sunkenness under the eyes, that accentuates the dark circles, you'll look years younger and more rested and youthful and look very natural. So basically, you look like a younger version of yourself. So
now I've had people, I call him like a mad scientist dermatologist on my show, and he was convinced. He goes, Randy, if I take you, and he knows my age, he says, I'm going to get a reversal of about 5 years on your appearance. He told me this. And in 10 years, you're going to look the same. And in 20 years, you're going to look the same. He's convinced you could take any 40, 48-year-old and keep them that way for the next 20, 30 years. He goes, I can't prove it. He goes, but I think technology is there. He goes, because my patients are 50 and look 40, it's like, oh, that's no big deal. But at 60, it's going to be a big deal. Do you feel the same way? Because I said at the top of the show, you can look years younger. Do you think you can halt somebody's...
I absolutely feel that I can make somebody 10, 15 years younger. I think it's not that difficult with all the latest technologies. But the key, Randy, I think that I want people to know is that if you start early, prevention is the key. I mean, it's much, much easier to prevent those wrinkles from forming than coming to me with those deep wrinkles and expect me to just like magically make them go away.
But those people also get phenomenal results. I mean, a 65-year-old, 70-year-old woman in San Francisco is young.
Correct.
Those are people that could get dramatic results, you're saying.
But, the sooner you start, the
sooner
you start. Get them in
their 30s?
Yes, exactly.
You can keep them looking that age?
I think, it's
not...
your
own personal belief. I mean, if somebody comes to you in their 40, and they're doing the at-home care, following your advice, you think you could keep them looking there for a long time with the tightening procedures and all that stuff?
Absolutely. I mean,
really?
You can definitely keep them. But, I mean, it also depends on the lifestyle, right? I mean, you got to...
But with that taken in mind, if they're eating right, they're doing the best they can, they see you think you could really... make a huge drastic dent.
We can, the fact that we can make huge difference right now, just think about all the technology improvement that's going to happen in the next, few years. I mean, literally last year I said, my God, there's just no other lasers and equipment that I can buy because I felt like I bought the whole things. And then this year I already bought like 4 or 5 new treatments. I mean, it happens that fast. Just like my iPhone, I just bought my iPhone. It's already another upgrade, so it just keeps getting better and better.
And the public doesn't know. I mean, we've talked on the phone, and you gave me somewhat of the inside scoop that we don't have to talk about here. But the public goes in thinking that that's all that's available. But technology, you have to choose a center that has the new stuff, right? And knows how to use it.
Exactly. But, it's because there's so much advances and so many different treatments out there, it's really hard for somebody, just a layperson, to know what's good for them. Okay. You know what I mean? Okay. I mean, internet is always like a double-edged sword. I mean, you can almost get overloaded information. I mean, just recently, we're changing all our computers and things like that, and I wouldn't know which computer to buy. I mean, there's different operating systems, like forget it. I mean, so I think that's the same for like the other person.
Let's talk about the aging face for the sake of time. Okay, so a woman goes on a consult with you, 35, 40, whatever. Let's pick the 40-year-old woman. Okay, she goes into you. How do you examine the face? What are you looking at?
Sure.
And tell me what goes through your mind there.
So I always like to kind of explain to them the aging process. So they really know that, it's a comprehensive treatment. So there's 3 major things that happen as you get older. Number 1 is that you get the sagging, the loss of collagen. So I love the Alvarez to lift and tighten things up this way. And then I love the Botox and the fillers. I mean, there's nothing like that. It's like bread and butter to smooth out the wrinkles.
Okay.
I mean, with the fillers, I feel like a magician. I mean, literally, as they walk out, they look like 10, 15 years younger on some people. I mean, how can you beat that?
Okay.
And then so we call it like a liquid facelift. I mean, to really fill up the volume, you get that lifting effect. So, I mean, you got to restore the volume loss that happens as you get older.
So those 3 things. Okay, so you look at...
And then the skin surface damage with the skin resurfacing lasers. So those are the 3 treatments. And, she may not need everything, but, that's kind of explained. Then you kind of start with what she can benefit the most from.
So brown spots, red spots.
Correct.
What do you do?
We have the vast array of laser treatments.
We're talking about spots, by the way, that come forward.
Correct. I mean, there's the traditional IPL, the intense pulse light energy, which does a fabulous job, photofacial. But, it doesn't do as much significant in terms of texture improvement. And, a lot of women want to get that at the same time. So that's why I love these newer fractionated resurfacing lasers. And it's not like the older CO2 laser where you have to hide out and stay home for a week, but who has time for that? So,
okay.
I love these kind of fractionated treatments because, you can still get...
And this is for like sun or leathery
sun damage, age spots, get tighter pores, fine lines, smoother skin, you name it. It's literally getting rid of your old damaged skin and helping you make new, fresh skin without damage. It's
so
to
all
put
of
it
these treatments are
simplistically.
heating the underlying tissues and forcing your body to do what?
So the heating is more skin tightening, and these resurfacing lasers gets rid of the skin surface damage made by making you peel, and then gets rid of it, and then you have the new, fresh, new skin.
Right.
So, one of the latest treatments that we have is what's called the clear and brilliant laser. And the reason I like this laser is because there's such a little downtime. You're just red for one day, you can cover it with makeup, and that's it. But, a few treatments of that, my goodness, you can get rid of brown spots. And that's actually what I did to get rid of my melasma. And sometimes you have to go real gentle because melasma, if you try to go too strong, you can actually disturb those pigment cells and actually make it worse. And once it gets worse, it's really hard to go backwards. So there's a lot of
diagnosis or judgment on your part.
Oh, absolutely.
On how to pair the machine with the product.
Randy, if I can just say, this treatment, do this treatment, do that. I can delegate this treatment to my nurses. There's no need for me to spend the time to do it. But I wish life was that simple, but it really isn't.
Are you a perfectionist, by the way, when it comes to skin?
You know what? Yes and no. I think it's really hard to achieve perfection, or otherwise nobody will be married, right? I was thinking so you're always looking for the next best thing. But I think sometimes intermediate good is better. So, you really know when to push the limit, but if you go too far, you can actually backfire. And it's really hard to teach someone how to treat like that. It comes from experience and just all the knowledge. And like I said, it's hard to teach.
What does it mean when you tell me I know how to push the machines more than most people? What does that mean?
So, for example, all the treatments, you have the training, they tell you all the recommended settings, etc. Okay.
Unlike a laser or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, most people may just kind of do that. Okay, skin type 4, I do this, brown spot, darker color skin, but I do that. But, you can certainly get results that way. And then, but a lot of the lasers companies do very conservative settings because they don't want to be liable for doctors, overusing the machine. So, but, as you get more comfortable doing the treatments and things like that, you know when to push the limits to get the results. Just a few extra little treatment over the brown spots, you can get better results. So, and you know how to do that. But, you know from experience that if you go too far, then it actually backfires and do the other way. And you certainly don't want to make anybody worse. And that's, what we are supposed to do is, it's one thing not to get a good result, but it's another whole story to make it worse.
So kind of aggressive treatment, but without the big downtime.
Exactly.
Okay, so getting rid of the browns. Okay, so you've got even tone now, beautiful skin, right? Maybe, right? Tightening. Talk about tightening and the technology and who's a candidate and when should they do something.
In the past, like our parents' generation, they really didn't have much choice other than to go under the knife if they want to get the lifting and the tightening, get rid of the gels. What other treatments did they have? But, right now, these days, the non-invasive treatments it works so well. I mean, much better than even just like 2-3 years ago, especially like the Alvarez that, with one treatment, I mean, you can take years off and naturally, no downtime. I mean, well, you can't beat that.
So tightening the jowls, the neck. What have you heard, by the way, either from partners, spouses, whatever, or the patients themselves? What do they tell you as far as years younger? I mean, what do you hear?
I must say I'm like the biggest advertisement for my practice because I don't even have to say anything. The clients that have been coming to my place, the med spa for over the years, they're like, wow, Dr. Kang, what did you do? I want to do it. Tell me your secret. And then they always know that, we're constantly updating our technology and bringing the new treatments. So they get excited. It's like, what's the new good thing that I can check out? I mean, I feel like they're like little kids in a candy store. Like, I want this, I want that. And, a lot of patients joke to me and say, Dr. Kang, just give me a room here and just let me stay,
So how often does someone have to go see you to really maintain it all? Okay, so the initial, you pick the treatment, tightening combination with some of these other fractionated lasers, every 6 months, every 3 months?
Well, the skin tightening, we usually say, you need to kind of maintain it every once a year, once every,
For skin tightening.
Yeah, year and a half, because, we can't defy gravity and stop the aging process. So you always want to stimulate that collagen to keep growing, and that's a maintenance. In terms of sun damage, I mean, once I get you to a good place, I mean, as long as you take care of your skin, use good sunblock, etc., I mean, you may not have to see me for a very long time.
So but every 6 months?
I mean, maybe not even that. It really depends on the person, and it's hard to generalize. But
early on, I said, you see transformations.
Absolutely.
Give me an example. Somebody that you took care of their skin and.
Well, I think I mentioned before. I think all these things, if you make them happy, I mean, they just feel better about themselves. I mean, I recently had a girl who broke up with her boyfriend and she was feeling depressed, but she said, what, I'm gonna look better and then go out and find a new mate, and she's happy, she's great,
Okay.
And moms,
Do you find people, it's like a life event that brings them to you? Getting married, going to be in a photo, going to a reunion, getting a divorce?
We definitely get all of that. I mean, we get a lot of young couples, we get the mothers, we also, especially actually recent bursts of like a lot of reunions, and I think it's due to the social media. Everybody's now so well connected. I mean, they're going to like 10, 20 years. I mean, that wasn't possible before. I don't know where the heck my high school classmates are, but with Facebook and things like that, I mean, people are reconnecting. And
they want to look as good as they look in those touched up photos.
They want to look like the best. They want to be the one that's successful and look great and, the big shot. So, they want to look great. And then we talked about, people going out in the jar market, and it's tough out there. I even have my 70-year-old uncle saying, Lisa, can you get rid of these brown spots? You know what I mean? I'm working with these young kids. I want to look good. I'm like, absolutely. And, my aunt says, like, I really feel you're never too old to want to look young. I mean, we get all these 70s and 80s people like, talking about, is there hope for me? Is it too late? Should I just throw in the towel? And I was like, no, absolutely never. I mean, it doesn't matter what age you are. I can always make you look younger, more youthful. And so I truly believe that. But like I said, the younger you start, I think we can really keep you looking younger the longer.
Now, you seem very passionate about what you do. And it seems like that when I interview, I've interviewed thousands of doctors that secretly some of the best think that they're like the best. Do you secretly think that you're at the top of your game, that you can head to head go with anybody as far as making somebody look younger?
That's a loaded question.
Do you feel that way?
I mean, I don't know. I don't try to compare myself. And in fact, that's kind of interesting because, in San Francisco, there are tons of med spas in the Bay Area. It's just popping all over the place. But, really, I don't really look at my competition per se. I really focus on what we do.
Good for you.
We try to get the best.
But you think your results are as good as they're going to, I mean, stacked up
I
against
like to think so,
I try, and people need to know. I mean, these are real interviews. That nobody's following a script, and I'm not trying to endorse you, but that's why I ask you. I never ask, how are you different? But how are you different? How do you see you and your brother own this med spa? How do you see yourself as different?
Randy, with all the med spas that are out there that's springing up, I think bottom line is people want to see great results. They want to see great results, and they want to get it safely. And we're able to do that because we always constantly seek out the latest technologies. And, we really make the investment every single year to get that and provide that to our clients. But, it doesn't stop there. I mean, you have to know how to utilize those instruments. So it's not like buying a car, right? You can go on the internet, you can research everything you want, and it doesn't matter you go to dealership A or dealership B, you're going to get the same thing. You're going to get the same car. But, you can go to any different med spa that offer the same treatments, but
But make sure they have the newer technology.
Right, but you may not even get the same results because it depends on who's delivering the thing. So, unfortunately, in aesthetic medicine, it's not as simple as that. I mean, you really have to do your research and make sure not only they have the latest technology,
because everybody's
but
charging about the same, right? So you might as well go somebody with a lot of expertise.
Correct.
Okay. Now, one of the things, and I'm going to bring this up only because we talked about it on the phone, because when I first met you on the telephone, I said, what do you want to be known for? You said, reputation is very important. And another thing you mentioned is your father, who was a surgeon who died very young. You said you've learned that don't put things off.
Yeah.
Life is short. Elaborate on that and how it has to do with what you do today.
Just from my personal experience, life is precious, it's short. I mean, I say don't put off things that you can do now. And especially with all these great non-invasive, minimally invasive treatments, you don't have to be afraid and feel like you have to go under the knife because it's so great. And, with all the things, I mean, it's very affordable. So, I mean, you can really take action.
And you're one of the busiest hair removal centers in all of San Francisco. Is that right?
We really are.
Faster,
I mean, in fact, we're so busy that we actually bought another brand new second machine just this year. So we're that busy.
Okay,
and it's constantly running. We're gonna make a whole San Francisco hairless. So.
Well, good for you. Good. Well, thank you for coming on the show. Great stuff, great info, and all of this
Randy.
information can be found on your website, etc. Thanks again. You've been watching The Wellness Hour, leader in medical news and information. I'm Randy Alvarez. If you'd like to see this interview again online, visit our website, put in Dr. Kang. You'll find her there. Also, if you want to comment about what a great job she did, you could put in on Twitter, # The Wellness Hour. For now, I wish you good health.
Thanks for watching The Wellness Hour, the leader in medical news with your host, Randy Alvarez, the authority on health issues.